Welcome to the Windsor Gallery Art Chat with myself, Theo Alonso, the curator here at Windsor Gallery. And I'm here with Wofai Ibiang.
And we're joined here today by Joe Abdallah, a creative director and consultant, and the task producer for Big Brother Nigeria.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Joe, how are you doing?
I am doing my best.
I mean, isn't that all we ever require from each other?
Yes, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so Joe, welcome. Thank you for honoring our
really
invitation.
To have you
Thank you for having me here.
Being here. So, I mean, I want to hear about everything you're doing you are kind of like a big brother to a lot of young creatives here in the city. So I think you have your hands quite full with a lot of little projects that you're doing. You're still a full-time artist, at the same time a creative director, and you have this amazing little idea, your Art Not Drugs campaign. So I mean, I would like to hear about that.
Okay, so it's quite ironic, being a big brother for young artists and then also, the big brother, the show itself. So I think I would still go back to the show. The Big Brother itself, it's a social experiment, yes? I know a lot of people have abused this and then suspect it's a way of becoming this famous person. But it is a social experiment. How people can work together, how people can merge, socialize. And then there's one thing that I've always pointed out to people. People don't exactly socialize. We just, try to be. Manage this person, manage that. You're not honest. Yes. No authenticity. And then for young creatives that understand that there's a point where they're going to be, there is the necessity for guidance. Not everyone has, that OT. Not everyone can. And there's this thing I said earlier, artists are terrible businessmen and businessmen are terrible artists. These artists need a business mind to help grow. And then I'm a terrible businessman. I know I'm a great artist, but I'm a terrible businessman. And then I need a business-minded person to help that. So if I'm not able to help them that way, I can help them being a better artist. So a lot of the times during the span from 2019, when I was able to use the influence I have, I literally activated art shows, outdoors where young artists can just combine their pieces with a couple of known artists and myself. I don't have to be present, but I always make certain that I am there. So when we combine this together, there is some sort of showcase. And then there's these artists that do not have the opportunity to get into galleries, with the percentage and the spike in their pieces. A lot of that change causes some sort of reaction. And then an artist, young, old, you need to understand that. It's not everyone that knows that. And then the basic things that we can learn is, listening, watching other artists do what they do, and then trying to just pick brains. When we're not able to socialize and isolate ourselves and try to create this masterpiece, we would go out once in a while, socialize, communicate, try to reason with another person, and then just get inspired. Random artists will tell you their inspiration comes from this, and that. It's actually everything. So if we have everything, and I'm able to give everything to the set of people that also know they have it, but they just know where, and I'm doing something, an impact. The Art Not Drugs is basically focuses on how we can concentrate more on creating rather than intoxicating. I have a lot of people that I know have gone through a stage of their life where these drugs that are rampant now put them in a very terrible space. While they could easily maintain a creative process by painting, building, whatever it is.
Actually focusing on the creative task at hand.
That distraction pops up. And then, it could be triggered from so many things. That's why it also emphasizes on the mental stability of people. Even regardless of being an artist, people generally need a mental balance. So we need to direct, and the intention of this initiative is to direct focus to the things that are quite important and more important than what we know is not. And I've always had this orientation of working on the possibility of making something than waiting for a fault. For most initiatives that do
something goes wrong and then you're like reactive to it.
We don't have to wait for it to be wrong. We don't have to have the kids in the universities now that are exposed to sex. They're exposed to the kind of things online. They're exposed to a lot of drugs. We don't expect them to become victims, to become patients. And then you take them to rehab and then they waste a couple of years. And they come back to try to restart. In a lot of these places, I don't think they emphasize on the mental balance. They just provide more drugs.
Yeah.
So why not just divert? Let's redirect. So the intention here is to have that, available. Jumping into rural school educational institutes and teaching the kids what to do with the things around them. The least things, the clothes that they wear, and then tattered, rather than turn it to a rag.
Yeah,
you could actually turn it to a bed sheet.
The idea of having a positive distraction.
Yeah.
And then if they're, if they enjoy this, because you obviously have to make it enjoyable, they continue to do that. And right there, they can come up with other things. So we're not trying to make an impact of, we did this. No, make an impact. We did this, and this led to that, and so on.
So many other things.
I know that I've not made all the doctorates and all the certificates. I just finished one, I think last year, the International Art Therapy. So I have a certificate for that. And we do this group therapy where we have people just come together and then share their feelings, express themselves. A lot of people are going through anxiety, depression, and the likes.
Yeah.
We don't like to identify them, but it's happening. What are we doing about it? It's very easy to talk about it. I have colleagues that are top in these places that are somewhat focusing on themselves. And when you develop well enough, as they say, fill your cup so you can pour into others. Yeah. And this is what we could do, bringing people together. So they're not even just young artists. We have top people that I feel like once we activate what is coming up on the 29th, which is the artist talk, we want this same artist to speak to younger artists. Let them just share with them. It doesn't really matter how difficult it is for young artists right now to sell a piece. Yeah. It's more about what we're doing about it. Like, what's the action? Something like what you're doing right now. And having people understand that there is a chance to, however, wherever it is, however, whenever, there's something you can give. Yeah. Just give it.
So it's a very interesting place to be.
Yes, I think it's very important as well.
It's like the crossroad between like art practice and like mental health.
Yes, and exactly. When you give them a space where they can express those feelings rather than falling to the negatives, which is the drugs, that will help them sustain that. They have a space where they can talk and, be open and get advice. I think it's very amazing. Yeah.
But it's also, the shift, right, from art that kind of raises awareness about like mental health and all the things around that. Because, it is something that is always kind of prevalent. There are always artists who are kind of inspired, maybe from their personal experiences firsthand or secondhand to kind of create work that kind of speaks about mental health awareness, or even use art as a way to kind of deal with their own mental health awareness. Yes. And then there's also this idea of like art as therapy. Yeah. Not necessarily just for like the artist, but
the viewers as well.
Yeah. The people who are kind of consuming the art or just using the art as like a tool in a kind of in a capacity in order to kind of facilitate kind of healing, to kind of find mental balance and all of these things. So very interesting space to kind of be. And so there is going to be an artist talk happening.
On the 29th. And what we basically want is to have get the same set of people that have actually been through this, had their experiences over 2, 3, 4 decades, and then they pass this on. We don't read books anymore. We don't read, articles as much.
Yeah.
We don't, once it pops, once it's beautiful enough, attracts your eyes, you just slide through. We need to have that moment where we sit down like this and then talk.
Yeah.
These things are quite important. We don't know it, but once we experience them, we can really pay attention that, okay, this is. And then we've also been able to isolate a couple of affiliations that we have with places like Central Park, the Clubhouse, places that we can be present as an artist and express yourself.
Yeah.
Have your easels. I'm working towards making sure that there are more places that an individual artist can visit, have your easel and canvas, sit, paint, use what we have and leave. These are the same set of people that are making whatever it is that we're working on worth it. Creatives. So it's as important as any other thing that we're dealing with in this country. It is as important. And from there, appreciation, development, exposure, experience, it leads to bigger things. The impact is a necessity.
So your time as a creative before you kind of went through the whole social experiments of the Big Brother house and your time as a creative after that. So, I mean, what would you say was there some sort of shift? What was the shift? How did it kind of
how did
make
it
you
help?
kind of
Exactly.
value, I guess, authenticity?
Yeah.
Because I think that was the big thing that comes into play, is that how do I be my authentic self while still being aware that
And did your
I am
view
being
of the world
watched?
change after that experience?
So the social experiment, I ended up, the way things turn out, I ended up experimenting.
Participating. You were like an experimenter
Yes.
rather than
So
the experimented.
I was experimenting on people and myself that were being experimented on.
Yeah.
So
Because
I
you were
understood-
there as like a fake.
No, I was there midway.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, he came.
So you were,
I think they wanted to spice things up, and it
Yeah.
just like, let's bring
Yeah.
this nonsense out of people again and just dump them.
And
And then
like
I
just-
think he was also like kind of an instigator. Do you think?
No, not. Well, personally, I'm the bad human. I have to do that, because
I
I,
mean,
understand
yes.
the way I understand a good part of the human behavior, why we do certain things, and then what leads to, what. And in that space, you're exposed to a set of people from different backgrounds that are put in the same setting. They have the same direction, same instructions, their intended perspective, same, all that in one box. So when you realize that this is, like as we are, the three of us speaking now, and then the viewers, we're placed here to do one thing. So we understand that if anything changes from here, you pay attention and realize that, okay, this is not what we're here for.
Yeah.
So in a space like that, putting random people, then giving tests, giving games.
So you like have to constantly remind yourself who you are in order not to
If
kind
you
of
lose
get
yourself.
lost in it.
Yeah.
Because before the show, I always wore my masks. I always wore my hats. I always wore black. I always covered my eyes. I never really showed my face. I mean, when I started working on Central Park, the designs, I was just hidden there, going there, the go-kart, the paintball, all covered up. I got exposed, obviously, because of the show. And then I know that was not my intent. I got in there because of my friend. He needed support. And I was there to crack jokes, and then we're just causing trouble until I got the golden ticket. Now, getting in there, I realized that this is where I am in. So you have to okay, we're here now.
It's different
Yes.
now.
So exactly what happened next?
Well, it dawned on me. And paying attention. Yes, sometimes you remind yourself. But paying attention to where you are, reminding yourself. It helped with principles, your mental stability. in a space where you need to be conform, in a space where you need to express yourself.